Good evening, VV Nation. My name is Ryan. Always a pleasure giving you these 6 p.m. videos. Now, tonight's video, highly anticipated. The Quantum watch list is finally in the VectorVest 7 software. So we're going to jump in the software, obviously show you the watch list, see what the watch list is doing in general. Now that we have the ability to put 29 stocks together to create a watch list average, I can track the space much easier, making our job to keep you on the right side of the trade even easier going in 2025. Now, last week, 6 p.m. video, I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember, but I talked about having a conversation with my cousin, right? A lot of this technology, I was specifically talking about personal quantum computers coming around 2100. Well, NVIDIA CEO, right? The comments, he's even saying any type of applications is quite a few years out. I know we're talking about it on the channel. I think it was 2055 was kind of the time range mentioned there. You know, I know there's a little bit of a gap, like 10, 15 year difference there. But either way, quantum stocks, they're not here yet, but that doesn't mean sleep on these stocks. And the reason why is obviously I specialize in semiconductors. You've seen those videos over the last year or so since I've been doing these videos. Quantum GPUs, or QPUs as they're going to be called, are going to be integrated with CPUs, GPUs as well. It's all going to work together. So these companies have the potential to be really big, right? Last night's presentation, we were in the stock viewer. Tonight's presentation, we're going on the viewers tab. You have the watch list viewer. Down below, we do have the special watch list folder. And then finally, the updated quantum computing stock watch list, right? Now, I will already say stocks and ETFs associated with quantum computing. Not every one of these companies are quantum computing specifically, right? Some of these are going to utilize some of these applications, like QSI, the one I bought, right? Utilize these theoretical quantum applications for the drug space, which is a perfect way to utilize these large scale models for application, real world applications. Drug space is going to be hot, right? But so I'm going to move this over to the left now that we know where the list is. At the top of the list, we got the safe names, right? You got NVIDIA, you got Google, Taiwan Semi, Amazon, right? All these companies, they're going to make their way in the quantum space one way or another, right? These stocks are in order by VST. You already know my quantum pick, and the safest pick I have, a feeling, and even probably one of the best Mag 7 picks in my opinion for 2025, going to be Google. Now, if we scroll down a little bit more, we get into some semiconductor companies, AMAT, AMD, Tower Semi. We got Microsoft here. And then obviously we've got some of the crowd favorites. We got QTOM, COHR, Honeywell. This is actually based out of Charlotte. Very familiar with that company. Atom, IONQ, QSI. Even got some penny stocks here, WeMe. So again, 29 stocks. Break down the space, right? First thing we're obviously going to talk about, look at the percent price change of these. Resort this. Only 2 or 3 stocks were positive territory today. We got WIT, TSEM, and Microsoft. So obviously these 3 stocks are going to gain my attention because it's kind of curious that some of these other positions, if I change this around, look at this, we're getting down 43%, Quantum, 40%, IONQ, 35%. I try to give you warning, right? You know me, I don't get emotionally attached to positions. I see the potential for these companies. I'm not going to say that these are bad companies. I see the potential for them. But you look at the valuation, you guys are paying a premium right now, right? So we're going to try to manage this premium paying, right? And I understand some companies are worth paying a premium, like NVIDIA, AMD. At times, these companies were worth paying a premium. And I'm going to make the same argument with some of these companies. But just be careful because, the secret's out of the hat, essentially, that a lot of these companies really aren't going to come to fruition, quite some time down the road, right? And that's not my word. That's the CEO of NVIDIA, the largest and most important semiconductor manufacturer, designer in the world right now. You know whose opinion I want to know? TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. I want to know their opinion. Actually, I'm probably going to Google that. I'm going to do more videos on quantum in the future. Trust me. Now, before I leave, we're going to break down the charts. I'm going to show you exactly what levels I'm looking at because I know some of you guys are going to buy this dip no matter what I say. So let's go ahead and look at the charts and let's make some money. Now, I did forget to mention my cousin that I spoke with. He's the one who put me on TSM, AMD years ago, right? He got me introduced to semiconductors way ahead of the curve. That's why I respect his opinion. Now, the first chart we're going to look at, the watch list average here. Now, I do have the 3, 8, and 20-day EMA. They're all bearish right now. Price action even below that 20-day. I also have the fast lane here set up the Bollinger Bands with the 20 and 1. Price action is hugging that lower Bollinger Band, and RT just crossed below 1 in unfavorable territory. So as far as the technicals in this space, they all just went bearish, right? Now, as far as forecasted data, earnings per share on the rise, right? Flattened it out a little bit. But look at growth rate and earnings and the sales growth rate. Both of these are dropping off since December. And look at price action, kind of stalled out since that forecasted data. Not so favorable right now. And on top of that, with the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen's comments earlier this week, pressure is on. Now, if you didn't sell yesterday and, if you got diamond hands per se, right? I'm going to let you know my levels. Now we can see here, if this watch list can hold 95.26, we notice this bottom wick is technically higher than this. So this could potentially be the beginning of another uptrend. I'm a little bit more bearish than optimistic right now. If we do break this level, another level of support is going to come in at 87.06. Now, one of the biggest concerns I have for quantum stocks right now actually has nothing to do with NVIDIA. It has to do with inflation ticking up over the last few months. And bonds, interest rates are also ticking up, putting a lot of competition when it comes to these more speculative stocks and even the stock market in general. We saw the big sell-off on the NASDAQ earlier this week when I was sick. So just have this in mind and be disciplined. One last chart before we get to the stocks. The power of the watch list. It's amazing, right? Now I got the watch list here over the last 5 years. Look at this. Common theme. These stocks always trade at a premium, right? Hey, not a bad thing. But if you notice, there's a common theme about something, right? When valuation ticks down, look at this. So does price action, right? Look at it. We're seeing a common theme here. Value ticking down, price action ticking down. Now, I'm not going to get too bearish on these positions, but again, more pessimistic than optimistic at this time. If you're an investor, a long-term investor, hey, you have to have a plan in place. Don't, let the trader get emotional, whatever you do. Now, again, I do see that there might be some good buying opportunities at some of these stocks that sold off. So let's move to that right now. All right, first stock on the list, NVIDIA, right? Not pretty over the last 2 days, but look at this trend line. Look what I'm noticing. If I pull this down, look at this. Perfect touch, right? Buyers are coming in right at this trend line here. So this might just be a great bottom fishing opportunity for NVIDIA in general. Now, we all know what's going to happen. The new administration comes in, and really that's going to decide how the market moves, or at least for the short term, right? Another one of my favorite picks. We got Google here. Look, lower left, upper right, the stock is undervalued. Exactly what I want to see. And it's Google, right? Very big, safe company. We obviously know that they got the Willow chip, which created a lot of this hype in the first place. Now, if we look here, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, another undervalued stock. Again, they're probably one of the most important stocks when it comes to the AI revolution. I have a feeling they're going to be just as important when it comes to quantum computing manufacturing just as well. Now, if we look at the next position here, we got Amazon, right? Now, Amazon, I got my mom in a while back here around 115 bucks. I see the stock is overvalued right now, valuation dropping. Honestly, I might get a little bit more defensive on her, at least, take some off the table since she's up quite a bit. But again, she's an investor, not a trader. So I won't make that decision too hasty, okay? There's a big difference between investing and trading. As far as Amazon, honestly, it looks good as far as an investment. Clearly, it's Amazon. And as far as a trade, though, not there. There's no indecision right now. You can actually, if I zoom in here to a 3-month time span, freehand line, almost looks like, ooh, there we go. Could be a descending channel forming here, coming to fruition. But again, just too early to tell when it comes to Amazon. If I take a look at form here, this is an undervalued stock. Let's go to a 1-year chart here. Honestly, this dip, this might actually be a good one. Semiconductor here, form factor, undervalued. I see the valuation, dropping off here, but, it looks a lot better at $44 and $60 when it comes to an investment. As far as the trade, I do see momentum to the upside. And look at this bottom wick. Even though that sell-off came in yesterday, I'm going to look at all these stocks, candlestick yesterday. I like this bottom wick. I like the company undervalued. I like the buy recommendation. Now, as far as AMAT here, this, I don't know if the bottom's in quite yet. It's 176. We value it well over $200. I mean, overall, I think you're getting a good deal as far as an investment. If you were going to jump in here, we've got 3 touches here. If we get some buying pressure here and a higher low, this just might be worth taking a nibble at. Now we've got AMD. Let me zoom in at 3 months here. Clearly I talk about AMD. You can see the descending channel here, broke out of that descending channel with the pessimism that we saw in the market yesterday. Since it's closed today, went right back in the channel you see here. So again, AMD, great stock, undervalued, just not the time. If you see the valuation here, also on the decline, and I called it out yesterday on the live stream here. Even though I like the company, I like Lisa Su, probably one of my favorite semiconductor or favorite stocks out there. It was actually the stock I learned to trade options on, but not the best time. If anything, I'm thinking more of an investment opportunity here. Anytime I can get AMD in the round 120 or the low 100s, probably not a bad idea. Just picking up a little bit. Don't get overexposed into it, obviously, but just stay disciplined. But right now, the momentum's to the downside, but it's looking very attractive from a valuation standpoint. And with sell recommendation, another fresh sell recommendation, just be defensive, especially if you own AMD. Now here we've got TSEM. You see price momentum to the upside, value to the downside here. Let's go to 6-month chart. I like what I see here. I mean, I do see a little bit of a rollover occurring right now. So if you're in it, let me just put a line here. Let me do a horizontal line. I'm going to say probably somewhere in this zone here. I would be careful. I would want to look to see if there's some buying pressure. But if we get a clear break from this zone, obviously we broke the upper trend line. Now I just want to see if we get nice pivot here and a takeoff. That's going to be my guess here. Obviously, the stock is way overvalued. Valuation on the decline. Do not like that. Here we got Microsoft. Done a whole lot of nothing. You can see over the last 6 months, over the last 1 year, not a whole lot of nothing, right? But look, the valuation on the rise, but the stock is so overvalued right now. I've had these blue lines here for a while. If you can get in closer to these blue lines, probably the better. But as far as the Mag 7 stocks, we just saw Google and Nvidia undervalued position, so I'd be a little more optimistic. Whether it's investing or trading, just because the momentum, we saw more momentum in these two stocks, rather than Microsoft over the last 12 months. The only momentum was right here in the beginning. After that, it was pretty flat. Now let's go to the next stock here. Qtum. I know this is one you guys definitely want to talk about. This is the ETF. Now this one does have MicroStrategy as a holding, MSTR. If you know right now, I like Bitcoin, I like crypto, not a big fan of MicroStrategy. We see the gap down yesterday. This is the ETF that plays the space as whole. So let's go to 3-month chart here. Again, the pessimism in the market right now. All I'm going to say here is if we break the bottom wick here, this low came out on Wednesday, I'd get a little bit more defensive in this position. If we could stay above it, maybe start closing this gap here, hey. But honestly, with these stocks right now, I would be more concerned about doing a buy right, putting some insurance on these positions. So that way, if the stock goes up, yes, my returns are limited. But if the stock doesn't do anything or goes down, I collect the premium and my dollar cost average gets less. We got Qualcomm. Let's go to 1-year chart. Qualcomm, obviously I had this level here as well, 157. As long as it looks like, Qualcomm wants to find a bottom here. If you're going to do some bottom fishing, obviously this blue line doing a pretty good job. I want price action stay above this blue line, but for any real confirmation, I'd want to surpass the highs up here around 176. Oh, you see my red line here to 182, get confirmation to the upside. Now, if I look at valuation here, look, the stock is greatly undervalued. Value is still on the rise, actually matches the highs from prior. So I could easily put a price target on there close to $200 as long as, the stock can get out of its own way. But, that's going to be left up to the investors. But right now, the stock does look attractive by my means. Now, let's take a look at the next stock here. We got Coherent Group. Hey, this concerned me. Look, valuation flat. Stock is on the rise. But look at that valuation starting to take off here. And price action. Anytime, you got value here on the rise plus price action on the rise, I like it. But with the 3 last candlesticks, down, 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 very little buyers coming to control. Look at these wicks, very small wicks here. Not a fan of that. So I get more defensive. But as far as from an investment standpoint, I think there might be some really good opportunities here. I don't think this valuation is done growing. And that's what I do like about this position. Now, as far as the next stock here, let's see, we got Honeywell. Honeywell trading right around its valuation here, but I like to see value on the rise, price action on the rise. But again, look at the sentiment right now. It's to the downside. It's very risky to just jump in right now. Let's be honest. You're pretty much catching a falling knife. Here we've got IBM. Look at the valuation here dropping off like a rock. I'm kind of curious, what's the earnings per share? Earnings per share is on the rise, but I do not like the value dropping off. Again, for bigger companies, if you're going to play the space in a safe manner, my pick again, Google, Taiwan Semiconductor, Nvidia. I know Google's the one with the quantum chip, But TSM and NVIDIA, any quantum chip that comes out, it's going to have to be integrated into their ecosystem, the NVIDIA ecosystem, the TSM manufacturing ecosystem. That's why I really like those two companies. Now, here we got WIT, earnings per share. It looks like it's bouncing around 14, 15 cents. Let me take that off here. But look at the valuation. I like that. That thing is shooting up here, price action. It is overvalued, but I do like the valuation on the rise here. Now, as far as a trade, let's see, freehand line. We are still above the trend line. And I do see some bullish momentum in yesterday's candlestick. So, hey, WIT, I actually do like this one here. With the valuation on the rise, I can get behind it. Here's MicroStrategy. See the consolidation I had here. Again, MicroStrategy, look at the valuation. It's increased a little bit. But the stock, at one point, I think the market cap was around like $90 billion. And Bitcoin, I think they only owned around like 33 billion at that point. That doesn't make much sense to me. Why? Because the company itself ranged from like $10 to $20 from like 2010 to 2020, if you ever look at the chart. So I'll throw $20 on the stock price just for the existing company. But as far as Bitcoin itself, I don't see the valuation here. Again, I do see a derivative bubble occurring with MicroStrategy. And I will say, I think that derivative bubble will probably create great buying opportunities once all the naysayers come back in on crypto. Now, here we got Applied Digital here. Valuation, upper left, lower right. I'm going to skip it, especially with 2 down days yesterday. I don't like what I see here at all. Here we got Atom. Momentum to the upside, but again, valuation is flat. Look at this big candlestick to the downside. Nope, I think better deals potentially will probably come into place. Obviously the hype is coming down. Now, as far as, really good levels here, if we can find a level of support, sorry, I was trying to go off this high here, somewhere in this zone, you can see consolidation here before. I could really see, this potentially being a good buying opportunity on this position. But again, look at the stock valuation, 78 cents. Here we got IONQ valuation, $2.50. This stock went well over $50. Now it's at $30.25. So again, it broke every trend line. If I pull up technicals here, none of it is going to look good. So let's use a freehand line. Here's the bottom wick. I could see some consolidation in here. We could see the buyers coming into control. We got some touches here as well. So yes, if IONQ could stay above this level here, about what, $24 to $28, I do see some buying pressure here right now. Otherwise, if we break it, we could easily go back down into the teens, $18, $14. So again, just stay disciplined. I don't want you, especially a lot of people watching this, you guys might be up a lot of money, right? Protect that money. Use options, covered calls, do whatever you may have to do, like I was using with QSI. Now, here we got the next stock, QSI, go figure. Now, I said get defensive last week here. I got you in around $1.30, $1.40. When I was getting defensive, it was around $4, $3.50. Here's my level. Obviously, next level support here. But now with price action since those lines, ideally here, 216, 237 would be nice. The valuation still on the rise. Look at the value, $1.57. It is climbing right now. Have some patience. Let these stocks come to you. If you don't have the patience, again, I like the idea of a buy right or covered call. That's exactly what I did on QSI and it worked out very well. Now here we got QNCCF. This one was just added to the database. This is a very popular penny stock here. Look, update, update, update. Volatility in control here. And as far as valuation, we value it at 7 cents. So just like some of these other quantum stocks, risky business, but yet big things can happen, right? It's all potentially. So keep track of the news. But technically, no, I see nothing but indecision here. Upper wick, lower wick, very little body here, a lot of indecision. Let's wait and see what happens from here. If you're in the position, be defensive. Here we've got WeMe, jump up. This is actually another stock I talk about because it was undervalued here, right? The valuation flat, but it was undervalued. As soon as I came out of the video, skyrocketed to $3. It's $1.20 now, right? So what do you think I'm going to tell you to do? Wait for it to become undervalued again, right? The valuation ain't ticking up. And, it doesn't look like a whole lot of buyers came in yesterday. So yeah, I think it'll go a little bit further down. The closer to this green line, 91 cents you can get, probably the better, in my opinion. Now let's see here. We got Qubits, nice price action. Obviously the technicals there all in our favor, but I do like this buying pressure here. And I was actually going to look at buying Qubit when it was around 10.08 and do a buy right on the premium. So I would honestly probably just that strategy again. Look at the options here. I mean, we're trading at 610, maybe sell to 8 or 9, see what kind of premium that is. If the stock goes up to 8 or 9 bucks, hey, you make some money. If the stock stays where it is or goes down, because this is an investment, right? You know, a lot of these stocks, you're gonna be waiting around. We just saw, Jensen, it's gonna be at least 10 years, a decade. So have some patience. Use these as income strategies. That's what I did with QSI with my premium. But hey, do what you will. Here we got LAES. I like that wick. And look at that candlestick. That's an open body candlestick. The open 498. Look at that close raised to the upside. So even a drop down, the buyers came in and look right in my most of these lines here were here before I put the video. It's usually a week or two ago. I don't make these lines up. I look at charts every day. Look, that body, I like it. If we could break out to the upside, follow through. I wish I had some more money. I might buy some. We'll see, Here we go. We got AMPG, Amplified Group. Look at, hey, this is another one about to be undervalued. Value on the rise. Why am I going to rush it? Value's on the rise. Prices dropping. If we continue this pattern for another week or two, you'll have to be in an undervalued position right here. So, just a heads up with this one. I like that one. ARQQ, Quit Quantum, software security. Definitely important space when it comes to, quantum in general. $1.72. We rate 24.67. There's not going to be much optimism here. I can tell you, yep, I had a feeling that's about where it was. You can see all the bottom wicks here, bottom wick. If price action break this, what was it, $21, $22? We get much below that, get defensive, right? Otherwise, I'll let you know when we get some good buying opportunities going forward. Qubit, obviously saw the consolidation here, broke out to the downside. But he's handling, that's probably where, yep, exactly where it's grabbed support from those two here. I'm going to put a zone, maybe to the base of this candlestick here. If it breaks this, I'm giving a little bit more leeway. You got $7.01. If it breaks $7.01, we value it at 69 cents. Just a heads up. Here we got RGTI. Again, another big drop. $20 down to 10, 50% in a day. Me and Glenn, we gave y'all fair warning. These are aggressive stocks. Valuation not even ticking up a little bit, 55 cents. Yeah, I know everything's going on with this company. Big things in the picture, but it just ain't worth $10 right now. It's worth what an investor is willing to pay for it, right? Just like some people are willing to pay for 20 bucks. Now people are only willing to pay 10 bucks just off the news. This is why I don't like some of these high-flying stocks. Now, I do realize the potential with some of these companies, right? And we're going to lead this with the last stock here, Quantum Corp, QMCO. Again, another high flyer, value $1.57, went well over $80. Look at this upper wick here, follow through the downside. This right here was your warning sign. If you didn't take this as a warning, that is on you. And look at this trend line here. That's kind of how I would have played this momentum. I mean, you would have gotten here around what, $20, cut out just below 60. Yeah, it would have worked out really well. Now, we went through a whole lot of stocks. I hope everybody enjoyed this presentation. I might get a couple dislikes, but you know what? I gave you an honest, unbiased opinion of every single one of these companies. Now, I hope you guys utilize this information to stay on the right side of these trades going forward. And trust me, as updates occur, I'll be putting out videos. So everybody have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next week. 2025 is almost here. You know what that means? The clock is ticking down for our flagship event. That's right, 2-day investment seminar, January 10th and 11th in Tampa. Now, if you want to visit this in person, there are a couple seats left available. Just go to VectorVest.com/Tampa. See you there.